To be Hero X is actually peak. Picking up where we left off in the previous episode, it turns out that Moon didn't die, and what we saw was just for shock value to make sure we watch the next episode, which was unnecessary as fuck. I was gonna watch regardless, because what would I watch instead? Fire Force? It's shown that Moon caught on to the fact that the Noahsxz in front of her isn't the one she's familiar with. Lin Ling then tells her that Noahsxz died, and we find out that Moon and Noahsxz's relationship was all for show, and Moon wants out, but Noahsxz's manager shows up to tell her that's not happening, and whether she likes it or not, they're getting married now. But obviously Moon wasn't that enthusiastic about that idea, so Noahsxz's manager walks her slim thick ass out of the penthouse and proceeds to lock them in the crib. So some time passes, they get to know each other, and we later find out that Moon never liked Noahsxz from the get-go, and everything was a contractual obligation. And the reason she can teleport out of the crib is because her portals lead her directly to Noahsxz, since their fans want them together. So after some more time in the penthouse and multiple failed suicide scares, Noahsxz and Moon end up getting married, as we see them on their wedding day in this beautiful venue with media coverage and multiple guests, which is crazy to me. Imagine hosting a wedding and all of the guests are complete strangers, and on top of that, there are no bridesmaids, no maid of honor, no groomsmen. What kind of ratchet shit is this? But all of that gets interrupted by this nigga Rek, who launches at Noahsxz with this big ass sword. Broski must think he's guts. However, Noahsxz gets out of the way of that attack. They clash, and Rek starts talking to Noahsxz like a bitch who got turned into a sperm reserve one night and got ghosted the following day.
Why the hell haven't you replied to me? I've texted, I've emailed, I've called. What's wrong with you?
Moon disturbs them, so Rek proceeds to drag him away so they can talk in private. We cut to Noahsxz's manager saying Rek is going off script, and that's when we find out that this whole thing was a sham. It was formulated to fake Moon's death and free her from her duties and increase Noahsxz's trust value. We cut back to the fight, and that's when Moon and Noahsxz's manager try to get Rek back on track, but that doesn't work as Rek decides to change stages. Out of the blue, Rek says this.
Where is Noahsxz?
What are you talking about? I'm right here!
No! I can tell the second you opened your mouth, you're not the Noahsxz that I know!
But before they could get any further, Moon interrupts them again. However, Rek deals with her quickly. Now that he has Moon in reach, he uses that to squeeze the truth out of Lin Ling. So Broski spills the tea, and the moment Rek heard the news, any possibility of him getting back on script went out of the window, as he went on to lash out. Miss J tells Lin to evacuate the area, but he decides to engage in the fight. So the art style changes, and Noahsxz tries to close the distance between him and Rek, but he kept throwing obstacles in his way. Fortunately for Noahsxz, Moon provided assistance, allowing them to get close to Rek and pack that boy up. We then get a flashback from Rek that insinuates that Noahsxz might have been a penis enthusiast. Rek states that it was a friendship, but some of the stuff doesn't look like shit homies do. I be kissing the bros goodnight, but this is going too far. So after landing that punch, Lin just watches him fall to his death. What kind of hero does that, bruh? So the plan ends up working, and they successfully fake Moon's death, resulting in her being able to travel to wherever she wants. But before episode 2 wraps up, we see that nigga in Light got new powers from this dark entity, which he proceeds to take advantage of expeditiously, as we see that he somehow found Moon and chose to expose that she's alive. Oh, and he changed his name. He's now God Eye, but I'm not calling him that. I'm dead naming the fuck out of this bitch. Obviously, Lin, being the parasocial chump that got a chance to be next to their idol for a long period of time, he had no intentions of sitting back and not doing shit. But unfortunately for him, he physically couldn't, because Noahsxz's fans wanted him to not do anything. So Noahsxz's agency responded by sending one of the heroes they signed, who I forgot his name, so I'm gonna refer to him as the Negro Iron Fist, as his special ability is that he's got Iron Fists and he's a he can make the people he punches lose memories. Having the ability to give people instant chronic, traumatic encephalopathy with one punch is fire as fuck. But that didn't mean shit, because after getting cooked up a couple of times, Enlighten released his smear campaign exposing watermelon munching Iron Fist as a whole fraud. So his agency was scrambling, trying to cut the transmission, which led to them playing the ad campaign Lin had made in episode 1 about how anybody can be a hero, which inspired him to somehow go against the laws of his universe and leave the penthouse. He heads over to Enlighten's location, and this whole thing pissed me off so much, because the moment he exposed himself as not nice, he lost all of his trust value. So did he think he'd measure up against a superpowered individual that has the Angstrom Levy bots? Come on, dog. So Lin runs in time and time again trying to land a hit, but Obviously, Enlighten was wiping the floor with him, but through what I can only call plot armor, he somehow manages to get the upper hand. So Lin was momentarily mixing up Enlighten, but Enlighten then landed a hit that put Lin on the floor. And after that, he was just releasing all of the hatred he had been storing in his body. So the viewers saw this and started hyping Lin up, which led to him having his own trust value. He then proceeds to ass fuck the shit out of Enlighten, resulting in him looking like this. So Lin goes to save Moon, but guess what? That wasn't the real her and was just a mannequin disguised with a hologram. So Noahsxz's agency ends up dealing with the damage control and Lin ends up taking Noahsxz's spot in the rankings. We cut to Moon and see that she was actually stranded on a deserted island. Dumbass bitch, why would you leave your teleportation gun behind? Fortunately for her, Lin Ling shows up. They have a small reunion, but before they could leave,